So I'm starting recording the lecture. Today, as a continuation of our previous lecture, we'll discuss about interview. We'll try to discover what are the different styles of interview usually the interviewers take. And this will help us to prepare for the interview. When usually you will enter into the interview board or interview room, what type of interview they're taking, you can understand. This will help you to make prepared to answer because the answer sometimes differs based on the interview structure. Today we'll ultimately discuss about the interview structure. You know how to prepare cover letter and what are the information you will write there in the cover letter. Cover letter is very important letter because usually during your interview session, the interviewer read your cover letter. Read means not loudly, but your cover letter and your resume are the basis for your interview. So what you will write there in the cover letter and also the resume or CV, you must remember those issues. Because as you know that maximum or many candidates are lying on their CV. So if you lie or fib, what will happen? This can easily be identified. That's why you will write the right information in your cover letter and also resume. This is very important. So it is just continuation of our previous chapter. That is chapter 10. It was about writing cover letter and resume. Interview is just the addition because we'll just give you the idea what the interviewers think or how they conduct the interview. There are different types of interviews you have to face. Number one is selection interview. Selection interview is a part of selection. And you know from the human resource course that recruitment and selection. Recruitment means inviting people in the organization and selection means converting applicants into employees of the organization. And selection interview is very important in your life. This may be a turning point. There are different turning points in your life. Number one is admitted into a university. So as a student of the NSC, we're lucky. And this next turning point will be your job orientation. And this interview will be most important for you. And to get prepared for the interview, there are several points you must remember. Number one, your resume. Resume must be grammatically correct. All the truth will be light there. You cannot write any false information. Number two is that academic background. Academic background means that whether there is any break of study. Break of study is taken seriously in the interview board. You have to explain if there is any break of study. Break of study without any logical reason means or indicates that you were not regular in your student life. As you are not regular in your student life, the interviewer think that you will not be regular in your professional life. So student life, even if you are thinking that the results will not be fruitful in your interview, but this is the basic or foundation of your interview. So your regular study, getting good grades is very important because ultimately in the interview board they will ask you about your academic life. When you will enter into a professional life you do not know as a first job aspirant. You do not know everything or anything. That's why whether you are a regular and good student, that they will check. Maybe they will ask you, have you gone through a business communication course? Although the theoretical issues are not important for the job, but they will ask you a question, is there any course on business communication? Can you please tell me what are the contents of the course? Have you gone through a counting course? Can you please tell me the contents of the course? Have you gone through this type of questions usually we ask to the freshers, as you are the freshers will join the job. That's why this type of questions will be come up. So selection interview is a turning point in your life, whether you are going to be successful professional or not. So having some idea about the selection interview is very important. And afterwards, performance appraisal interviews. It is this type of interview is very popular when you are getting promoted from your position to the higher position. That is known as the performance appraisal interview. This type of interviews are regular in every organization, because when you will enter in a position, maybe after a few years, as per the corporate culture, corporate policy of the organization, you will be promoted. So your performance will be appraised through interviews. This is also a very important interview, and HR manager of the organization is also responsible for this type of interviews. And the third type of interview usually you will face in your professional life when you will change your job. So when you will leave an organization, exit interviews. When you will leave from an organization, the HR department will take a special type of interview. That means why you are leaving this organization. Maybe because of your career aspiration, you have to explain. And number two, that the issues is very important for the existing organization is that if there any problem in the current organization, the organization which you are exiting, this information you candidly will speak the truth to the interviewer. So this type of interview is important for the organizational development or organizational change. So selection interview is converting applicant into employees of the organization. Performance appraisal interview is for the promotion or demotion of the employees, and exit interview is for the organizational change, whether you are gonna changing the organizational culture or the system. Exit interview will help it a lot, because when people leave the organization, they speak the truth about the organization. So selection interview ultimately we will discuss today. A selection interview is a selection procedure designed to predict future job performance based on applicants' oral responses to oral inquiries. These oral responses to oral inquiries not always be on your job characteristics, rather for a fresher. So please remember, you will be asked to answer questions from your previous study. So if you are a good student, you will get a good job. This is the positive, there is a positive relationship between these issues. Maybe you're thinking that why communication course is important, why accounting course is important, but these are all important. These are designed for the business administrators. You will be the managers in future. To be a manager, you have to have the overall knowledge of management. And this course is a lesson from lifelong lesson, you know. Usually the interviewers design interview in different forms. These forms commonly includes number one, structured interview, common types of interviews, structured interview, unstructured interview, panel interview, group interview, behavioral interviews, situational interviews, working interview. These are the common types of interview. What is structured interview? If you have the knowledge about the structural interview, what will happen in your practical life? You may think that what type of interview the interviewer is taking, and that will help you a lot to identify the problem. So, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, শোনা যাচ্ছে।
Okay. So, structured interview. What is structured interview? The interviewer or the computer program. In today's world, there is automated interview system, computer programs, programming system. Usually, if you sit for the GMAT exam, these are usually computer program. GMAT. So maybe in your future you will face this type of interviews. The interviewer or the computer program asks a series of questions in a predetermined order. That means in GMAT exam system, if you can answer a easy question, the next question will be difficult. This is a computer program. If you cannot answer the easy question, more easy question will come up before you. But your score, your percentile will decrease as you cannot answer properly, or as you cannot solve the difficult issues. So your percentile will be declining. So predetermined. These are predetermined. Structured interviews help employers identify candidates who don't meet basic job criteria, and they allow the interview team to compare answers from multiple candidates. So maybe in an interview board, there are several interviewers. First interviewer will ask you about accounting issues. Second interviewer will ask you about the marketing issues. Third interviewer will ask you about finance issues. So the system is structured, and you will be judged based on the common questions. The questions that will be asked to you, the same question will be asked to your next interviewee. It doesn't mean that the same question will be asked, because the interview will come out and will tell everything to the others. That's why accounting, that means the question will ask from the accounting course, and the next interview also face the same questions from the same course, accounting course. So structured. One will ask about accounting, another will ask about another interview will ask about marketing, another will ask about finance. So there is a structure, and also GMAT system. If you can answer easy question, difficult questions are coming. If you cannot answer easy question, more easy questions are coming. So structured. So interview may be structured, and the structured interview help to identify the candidates, comparing their performance with the same type of questions. So interview, especially maybe I don't know about the comprehensive exam system in NSU. Is there a comprehensive exam system? Comprehensive exam, that means after finishing your pre-required credits, you have to face an interview, complete interview based on your total syllabus. This is known as comprehensive exam system. In medical education, there is a comprehensive exam system. In our school, that means in Bangladesh University Textiles, we have a comprehensive exam system. That means this is a structured interview. Structured interview, somebody will ask a board will ask many different questions, and there will be different expert. One will be expert on marketing, another on accounting, another on management, another on finance. They will ask their relevant questions, and usually students know who is the expert on management, who is the expert on accounting, who is the expert on finance. They know about the issues. This is known as the structured interview. So in your school, if there is a comprehensive exam, it is known as structured interview. All right. Unstructured interview, there is no system. The interviewer asking questions from different angles to identify your knowledge base. That is known as unstructured interview. The interviewer adopts adopts his or her line of questions based on the answers you give and any questions you ask. The interviewer adopts his or her line of questioning based on the answers. That means I'm asking you, do you know what is U viewpoint? If you can answer, then I will say, what is the application of U viewpoint? If you can answer what is the application of U viewpoint, I'm answering that. Can you give an example? So one question is coming or following the other question. Just a moment. Oh, sorry. So it is home environment. You have to, face a lot of troubles that I'm also facing. Sorry for that. So unstructured interview is clear. That means it is not structured. Who is asking what question is not followed by the previous or related issues. The interview may be of, panel interview. Panel interview means that when you meet with several interviewers at once, try to make a connection with each person on the panel, and keep in mind that each person has a different perspective. So tailor your responses accordingly. So in that case, that means panel interview, usually the interviews are panel interview, all interviews. A panel interview means that a panel, few people ask you questions. Panel interview. Usually the interview is not one-to-one panel interview. And the interest of one interviewer differs from the another interview. The interview, BCS interview, and also the interview that you are gonna face in your professional life. Or panel interview and group interview means the opposite of panel interview. More than one interviews. One or more interviewers meet with several candidates. That means the candidates are many. In group interview, candidates are many. A key purpose of a group interview is to observe how the candidates interact. So teamwork skills are judged here. Group interviews can be tricky because you want to stand out while coming across as a supportive team player. So to judge the team skills, usually group interview are held. In my personal life, I have faced such interview in Bragg Bank. They invite few candidates together. And try to judge who is the best among the group and who is interacting, and they try to give a chance to interact with the interviews each other so that they can understand whether the group skills is available or not. So here the important point is that they judge the team player who is better in the team, and teamwork is the very important in your professional life. So team skill is judged here in group interview. And finally, the other types of interview includes behavioral interview. The behavioral interview is related with your previous experiences. You are asked to relate specific incidents and experiences from your past. So maybe they will ask, which course was your, favorite course in a student life as a fresher? Maybe you will tell that finance was my very favorite course. In that case, they will ask you something about the finance related issues. So they will try to relate your knowledge on your choice and your experiences. This is known as the behavioral interview. And another interview type is situational interview. This is about your future hypothetical situations. You are asked to explain how you would handle various hypothetical situations. Maybe they will ask a question: if you have been chosen as the marketing manager of my company, and if a customer misbehave with you, what will be your reaction? This is not a situational interview. They judge whether you have professionalism or not. So if any aggrieved customer attack you in any way, you cannot attack him. This is the principles of the business world. The people can rebuke you, but you cannot rebuke. People may be temper, customers may be temper, but you cannot be tempered. So situational interview ultimately judges your future potentiality or your future potentials. Hypothetical situation, asking different questions on hypothetical issues. And usually behavioral interview, situational interview, these are very common in our practical life, and you will face this type of interview scenarios. And working interview, this working interview is usually not designed for the freshers. This interview is usually fresher, but usually they judge the capability to solve the business problems. Maybe you are going to face an interview for accountant of a company. Then you have to solve accounting related problems. That is working interview. Accounting related problems. Say for an example, I was applied for a job in a company, and they invited us for an interview. And during the interview, they have given 1 hour time. During the 1 hour time, I had to solve some problems. All interviews was involved with this issue, and they ultimately judge whether you are fit for that particular job. If it is a marketing, the questions and the exams, the interviews will be related with marketing manager. You're actually performing a job related activity. During the interview, you may be asked to lead a brainstorming session. This type of sessions are this type of interview takes a lot of time. Solve a business problem, and this type of issues are there. When I was a fresher, I have applied for many jobs. Say for an example, in Dhaka Bank, they invited us to solve a business problem. Also in BRAC Bank, they also practice these issues. They give a problem, and they after few minutes or after 10 minutes, you have to make a presentation on that problem. So there is a business problem, you have to solve it, and you have to make the presentation. Engage in role playing. Maybe you will be asked to be the manager for the moment, and what will be your duty to lead the team. And even you have to make a presentation. So this type of interview are happening in Bangladesh also, especially in the banking sector. This type of interviews are available. Say for an example of solving business problems, making a presentation, joining a brainstorming session. Brainstorming session means that maybe in a group, they will give some problem, and you have to solve that problem in group. This is to identify also the team skill. That was in our group interview, purpose. So this type of interview, working interview, is also available in Bangladesh, also very popular, very popular. And the interview media may be the physical media, or maybe telephone media, or maybe video interview. This type of interview is very popular in today's world. Telephone interview. Telephone interview means that just over telephone, and this type of interview is also available in our country. Say for an example, when I was a fourth year student in my university life, then Banglalink has called me. I submitted a resume in there. They also maintain a career link. That means there is a depository of CV. You can submit your CV there in advance. There is no problem. If they need such type of people, they will call you, and the interview may over telephone. Although I was a student, but they are trying to find out the candidate as a fresher candidate. So telephone interview is also available, and the principles of telephone interview is that treat it as seriously as an in-person interview. Be prepared with a copy of all, if it is pre-declared. But I faced that interview, it was not pre-declared. Suddenly they called me, and they were trying to ask different questions related to their job and whether I'm interested for the job or not, etc., etc. But if it is pre-declared, if it is pre-declared, a copy of all the materials you have sent to the employer, you will keep with you while you are facing the interview. Prepare some note cards. If it is possible, you will prepare note cards, because you are thinking that how will prepare note cards. Note cards means this type of note cards are ultimately related with your resume, because for the fresher, resume is very important. The questions will be based on your resume and also your academic background, because they know that you are not experienced man. You cannot answer questions based on the experiences. That's why resume and your academic background, these are very important issues. So take care of these issues. Be very careful in your student life and try to earn a good grade. Good grade is important for facing the interview. And the video interview, this is very popular, especially when you are going out of Bangladesh. This type of interview is very common. And in our time, we face interview over Skype. And in today's world, maybe Google Meet and some other Zoom, this type of media has developed. And the video interview has become very popular and very common in today's world. Even local companies ask for a video interview. And especially after COVID-19, this scenario has changed, and we all know how to face the video interview, how to interact in video classroom. That means today we are conducting class over Zoom platform, online platform. This type of media has developed after COVID-19, and the instruments, especially the instrument that is required for video interview, are available to people. That's why this has become a new impetus in our society. And the video interview, in your video interview, you have to be careful that in a video interview, speak to the camera as though you are addressing in the interviewer in person. So camera means you're looking at the interviewer, it indicates. So camera is very important. Looking at camera is very important here. With recorded video interviews, an online system asks a set of questions and records the respondent answers. Recruiters then watch the videos as part of the screening process. Sometimes the videos are recorded. In the recorded video, also in your English tests, for example, IELTS and other types of tests, the the interview is recorded. Sometimes they screen the process and selection process. They apply the same techniques. They record the interviews, and sometimes the question and answer session is like the GMAT format. The system is asking you questions and your answer is being recorded. And later the recruiters watch the videos as part of the screening process. Online interviews can range from simple structured questionnaires, and test sophisticated job simulations that are similar to working interviews. Sometimes working interviews, this type of interview, that means work-related questions are asked. This type of interviews, this type of questions are designed, especially simulations, job simulations. You know, you are the students of today's world, you know it better than me. Simulations, game simulations. The job simulations are also available, and in job simulations interviews, you have to solve some problems. You have to do some jobs that the job seekers ultimately do, or the job holders will do. So online interviews are very popular in today's world, and this interview is getting more importance in today's world. So maybe you will face a lot of online video interview in your personal life. And when you will face online interview, there are several tips. The tips includes, if it is predetermined, then look presentable. Look presentable means that it might seem silly sitting at home wearing a suit, but it could make a difference. Yes. So if your performance and my performance is same, then the interviewer or the recruiter will check who is more presentable. So you must be presentable at the time of video interview. Clean up the room. Do not tell the interviewer, see clutter. This is very important. Today I'm sitting here in this room. You can easily identify the other room. Yeah, I with my younger brother was living in this home in two years back, around 2 years back. And my younger was interviewed by a American professor, and he was successful in that exam, and he is now staying there as a scholar. So first question he asked Mr. Flath, David Flath, he was also my professor. Mr. Flath asked him, please show up the room. This is practical. Here I'm here in the room, the other room. My brother was there, younger brother. So clean up the room. This is very important. And do not think that it is not important. It's very important. So when you are gonna facing video interview, you must clean up the room, because in today's world they check whether you are clean or not. And if your room is not clean, it indicates that you are not clean. If your shoe is not clean, it indicates that you are not clean. And আপনারা জানেন আমাদের বঙ্গবন্ধু বলতো একটা লোক ক্লিন কিনা, তাহলে তার শার্ট খুলে তাহলে গেঞ্জি চেক করো, তাহলেই বুঝতে পারবা সে কত ক্লিন। Have you got the idea? He was right. He was right. So clean up the room. That is important while you are facing video interview. Test first. As a career FAQ says, 5 minutes before the video interview is not a good time to realize that your internet is down. That means internet is not working. It is not the excuse. Do not try to give such excuse while you are facing any video interview. Sorry, sir, my internet is not working right this moment. This type of excuse is not acceptable in today's world. So while you are facing video interview, test first. This is very important. Test first. Do a dry run. Sometimes if it is pre-scheduled, then record yourself before the interview to see how you are coming across. This is very important. Do a dry run. Although many candidates do the job, and before facing those who are interested for the higher study, they must face video interview in today's world, because the judgment is based on the video interview. Those who are thinking for study at the universities in America, you must face video interview. So do a dry run before facing the interview. Do a dry run. That means record yourself before the interview to see how you are coming across, and relax, and don't be anxious during the interview. Be in a relaxing mode. That is very important. The golden rule with such interview is to treat them like face-to-face meetings. So think that you are meeting face-to-face. Smile, look confident and enthusiastic. Make eye contact and do not shout, but do speak clearly. That is also very important. Shouting is not acceptable, but speaking clearly is very important. So these are the tips for video interview, and you must face this type of interview, as you are, many of you are thinking to admit outside of Bangladesh. So during the admission selection in today's world, especially in the American world, you must face a video interview. So follow this principle. Look presentable, clean up the room, test fast, do a dry run, and be relaxed while you are facing the interview. And what employers look for in an interview. Now come to the point. What they ultimately look for. Suitability for a specific job is judged on the basis of such factors. Say for an example, number one is academic preparation. If you have C grade in a course and they can reveal it, then they will ultimately think that the candidate was not a good student. He was not serious. Good student means not serious, because the way we are grading you, we ultimately judge your seriousness first, and then your answer is skipped. If you are not serious, it indicates that you are not getting a good grade. This is true. Your seriousness is very important. So academic preparation is very important. So as a student, you must be very studious. You must complete your daily jobs. You must think for a good grade. Work experience, this is especially for the people who are applying for the mid or late career, not for the early career or the entrant or for the fresher. However, in today's world, they also try to link your academic preparation with the university related activities. Say for an example, you are completing a course on business communication. Are you a member of business communication club? In your university, there is a club. There is a career club. There are different clubs in the university. These clubs are especially designed to,
Sir, I
you
think
know,
that club is communication club, not business communication club.
so what is the job of that club? Because I saw the
I
club.
was a part of that club for a really long time.
So what is the job of the club?
Uh, the teaches or practically talks to us how to improve communication, and not necessarily only business communication in every field of our life.
Maybe they give more importance on oral communication, is it? Or written?
Everything, valuing each other's opinions, team working, and
But
everything.
in our course, as you can understand after finishing few lectures, we are giving more importance on written communication. Our 90% content of the course is about written communication. All right. So we are
Yes, right.
some on writing, because in your professional life, 90% or maybe 95% of your job will be written. Because if you are not a good writer, you cannot do a business. So written communication we are focusing on. So communication club, they also check whether you are a member of that club, whether there are a lot of clubs in the university. These are usually designed for the students. So you can write the experiences of involving those clubs or, organizations or associations. That may be the experience, but this work experience ultimately indicates for the mid-career holders. Job related personality traits. Job related personality trait means that you are applying for a marketing officer. So you have to have some convincing skills. Your traits should show that you can convince the people. You are a good marketer. For an accounting job, your personality traits should be you know how to operate the accounting softwares. So job-related personality traits also be tested during the interview process. That means the interview, especially for the selection interview, is undertaken to check the fitness of the candidate to the job. That means they check whether the person is fit for the position. That is important. So selection interview. If we talk about the selection interview may be structured, selection interview may be unstructured, selection interview may be panel interview, selection interview may be situational interview, it may be behavioral interview, it may be work related interview. So these are the different types of interview, and usually you will face any one of them. And in today's world, video interview has become more important because it saves time. It saves time. At the same time, there is a recording system. The interviewer or the recruiter can record it and review it later. That's why yes, when you will go for higher study, your interview will also be recorded. They will review it afterwards. Who is the best candidate? Because they will offer research assistantship or some scholarship program. They will try to choose the best candidate from all over the world, all around the world. Not only you are only facing the interview. There are a lot of candidates who also face the similar interview. They will judge who is the best. That's why you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for the video interviews. This has become a great important interview in today's world. So when maybe what type of interview you're facing, but as a fresher, you have to have the academic preparation. They'll ask you on many different courses because you are the fresher. You do not know about the work. Ultimately, they will try to fit your current position, whether as a student you are fit or not. So please try to deal with the study gap. Is not good, but it may be good if you can justify that because of this reason I left the university for 1 year and I did some creative jobs. So maybe they will be happy with your study gap. So academic preparation is very important when you are going to face the interview as a fresher, and your CV or the resume, the resume must be very candid and must be comprehensive, and the cover letter you are writing, you have to convince that you are at the same time you have to convince the employer when you are facing the interview, and you have to convince the employer in your cover letter. So these are the issues you must take care while you will face the interview, and this understanding on interview will help you to face it. And before interview, many employers usually carry out some tests. The tests are also related with your job. So you are going to be the employee of the organization. During the selection process, other than interview, many organizations takes this type of test. Say for example, integrity test. Integrity test means that whether you are trustworthy. They ultimately check whether you are trustworthy or not. If you are not trustworthy, it means that you are not fit for the job. Then they also check the personality test. Personality test ultimately, indicates your interest, your attitudes toward job, your managerial potential, your dependability, commitment, motivation. These factors ultimately test through personality tests. Personality tests are designed to gauge such aspects as attitudes toward work, interests, managerial potential, dependability, commitment, and motivation toward the job. And personality usually defined as the difference between you and me, difference between different candidates. That is personality. They ultimately check personality when you apply for a job. And then cognitive skills or cognitive tests, these are also done to analyze your meritoriousness, how merit you are. Usually this test includes cognitive tests measure a variety of attributes involved in acquiring, processing, analyzing, using, and remembering information. Typical tests involve reading comprehension, mathematics, problem solving, and decision making. And these are ultimately the knowledge tests. And when you, as a fresher, when, say for an example, will apply for a job in banking sector, this type of questions are the questions in the selection exams. There is a comprehension section, there is a mathematics section, there is a problem solving section, and there is a decision making sections also. When you will apply for GRE, GMAT, also SET. SET is not applicable for you right this moment because you are the grown-up ones. So the contents of GRE, GMAT tests are ultimately reading comprehension, mathematics, problem solving, and decision analysis or critical reasoning. Sometimes we say it is critical reasoning. This type of issues are very important to judge your fitness. And the other test usually chosen by the recruiters, language proficiency. And language proficiency, that they check ultimately listening, reading, writing, speaking on a particular language, maybe Bangla language, maybe English language. So sometimes language becomes very important. If you are being posted to any foreign land, foreign country, then the test whether you have any certificates on English language or not. And job knowledge and job skill tests. This is ultimately, as I was talking, this is ultimately for the mid-career or late career people, job related tests. This type of tests usually are not for you. These are for the later career, when you will be promoted, when you will apply for a job to the other company as an experienced candidate, then this type of knowledge tests will be done. And follow up after the interview. This is also a very good indicator that you are interested for the company. Maybe sometimes you send follow-up message that you have joined, you have faced an interview. What about the results of the interview? Sometimes such type of message sometimes is an added advantage, because this may be a follow-up message after an interview is more than a professional courtesy. Professional courtesy, it is not for the Bangladeshi environment, because sometimes there are corruptions, there are some other systems or system laws. That's why this is not very good in our country. But for the developed country, this is more than professional courtesy. It's another chance to promote yourself to an employer. Maybe you are very good, you are very fit. That's why you can ask some questions to them whether when you are going to, you know, select, or when you are going to choose the right candidate for the right position. This type of message may be helpful, but in our country, as there is a job crisis, the jobs are less than candidates, and the jobs are very scarce also, very scarce. So also this may be helpful in the American context, but not for the Bangladeshi context. Message of inquiry: if you are not advised of the interviewer's decision by the promised date or within 2 weeks, you might make an inquiry. You can this you can to know whether the results is published or not. This type of inquiry message you can send. Letter of acceptance: now you are successful, you have become successful in your interview, you have got the acceptance letter. When you are accepted, you have got the offer letter, not the acceptance. You have got the offer letter. Now you are going to accept the offer. So it is known as letter of acceptance. When you receive a job offer, you want to accept. Reply within 5 days. So you must be very hurry. Within 5 days. 5 days means 1 week. Begin by accepting the position and expressing thanks. So positive answer. Positive, when you are going to write a positive letter, you will accept the position and expressing thanks. Identify the job you are accepting, that you are going to join as production manager, you are going to join as a management training officer, you are going to join as territory manager, etc., etc. In the next paragraph, cover any other necessary details. So maybe you can write something about your interest, that the job you have offered to me is very interesting to me. I was waiting for such type of job, and now I'm going to join soon in your company. So this type of additional message you can write. So joining letter or reply to the joining, usually in the offer letter it is written that within 7 days please join the company. But in government services in our country, in the government services, they allow 1 month. Within 1 month you have to join. It is a government system, but the corporate system is 5 days. It is the standard system, and you have to reply within 1 week. And if you are not interested to join the company, then letter of declining job offer. Open warmly. That means you cannot blame, or you cannot do anything that is against the company. Rather, you will open warmly. Thank you for giving me the offer. Such type of statements you will begin with. State the reasons for refusing the letter. Then you will state why you cannot accept the offer, and then decline that you cannot join the job, and then close with a pleasant note that expresses gratitude. Then you will write that although your company is very good, the company is one of the best companies in our country, but is my backdrops. That's why I cannot join the job. However, we hope the success of your company. This type of statements you can write at the end of the letter. And finally, it is also part of interview. In this chapter, there is a letter of resignation. When usually you will leave the organization after doing few months, few years job, then you have to submit a resignation letter. When you are leaving the organization, the letter is known as letter of resignation. Letter of resignation should always be written in a gracious and professional style that avoids, so remember, that avoids criticism of your employer or your colleague. So maybe you are leaving the organization, the company is not a good one, but you cannot criticize the company. Avoid criticism of your employer, company. or your colleagues. Maybe the colleagues are not good, but you cannot say in your resignation letter. You will write the resignation letter in a neutral language. Neutral language, the company is good, but due to some professional development, career progress, career development, I am leaving the organization, but you cannot criticize the employer or your colleagues. Please remember. So in your letter, you cannot write these words. This is all about this part today. We'll move to a new part. All right. Do you have any questions on interview?
No, sir. No, sir.
So it is 3:39. We'll take a break after. Okay. Can we take the break right now? And we'll join at 4. Can we?
Okay,
What do you
sir.
think?
Okay, sir.
So we will come back at
6:30.
4. All right.
Okay,
20
sir.
minutes
Okay.
break. Okay, thank you.